Read.
Good afternoon. Can you hear us? Hi, can you hear us? No, they're not hearing us. I don't like it to change the room.
So if you're not speaking, you can please mute so that you won't interrupt the other team. The Cheetas, can you hear me?
I think there's a problem with the Wi-Fi over there. They can't hear us.
Yeah, they really have a problem of Wi-Fi, and then it's going to be a
We
challenge.
heard you, but you were somehow muted, but now we're hearing you.
So if you could we turn on the video, please? Because I think we need to have our videos on, like it was communicated. And then you mute and unmute yourself while you're going to speak. So if we are going to kick off, my name's Liza Imbonawache. I'm also your chief adjudicator for session 1 of the debate. This house believes that complete digitalization of Rwandan economy can be achieved by 2030. So we have the Hawks proposing the motion, as well as the Cheetas opposing the motion. Is it true? Is it clear with everyone?
Yeah.
You can raise your hand while you affirm anything that I'm saying. The Cheetas, can you hear me? Well. Give me a minute. I probably have to communicate with the patron again. So the Hawks, you bear with us. The Cheetahs have also called me again. They've been struggling with the internet. They're trying to change the room again. So I know it's going to be challenging for this round because this is a new platform for most of us, and people are struggling with the
Yeah.
internet.
We can perfectly understand. But
Yeah.
I hope that will be done before the second session starts.
I hope so. I also hope so. But we'll have to work in the uncertainties that we have so far, because we can't start with one team. So we have to wait for them and be flexible at some point.
Can you hear us now? These are the Cheetos.
Yes, please. Can you turn on your video, please, as well?
Okay. Are you still hearing any echo?
I think that is better now. It's better now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Do we still have the Hawkson? If you could also please turn on your videos. Hello, the Hawks, please.
Yes. Hello.
Cool. So good afternoon once again. Apologies again for the delays. We've been having issues with one of our team that was struggling with the internet. So if you could mute, if you're not speaking, please mute so that we don't have to hear the sounds in the background. So again, I'm Lisa. I'll be the chief adjudicator for this round. I'm together with Abiel and Brian, who also join us later on. Again, the debate is this House believes that complete digitalization of Rwandan economy can be achieved by 2030. We have on the affirmative team, the Hawks team, and then on the opposition team, we have the Cheetas. So, like we said again in the beginning, we have 7 minutes of speech. The first minute is protected, the last minute is protected. When I say protected, it means you're not allowed to ask point of information in the protected minutes as well as in the last minute. Going to be having a reply speech for 4 minutes. As you all know, the speech we start with the opposition team and then on the affirmative team. So, if we don't have any questions so far, then I think we can kick off. Is it clear for everyone?
Yes. I think those guys can't hear.
Well. You're
I'm
late,
sorry.
please. Yeah, I
Okay.
did. Yeah,
Could you run through a little bit about the timing?
I did.
Is it for 5 minutes for four, or
Yes. It's 7 minutes for everyone, and then reply speech 4 minutes.
all right?
Yeah. So yeah. So if the first speaker on the affirmative side, you can take on and kick off the debate. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Good afternoon. I'm the first speaker of the proposal side, and this house believes that the complete digitalization of the Rwandan economy can be achieved by 2030. First, I'd like to start off by defining digitalization. Digitalization is a process of converting information into a digital format, and to define would be achieved, which means successfully bring about, right? So I'd like to also highlight the aspects of the Rwandan economy, which are the financial services, telecommunication, transportation, and healthcare. I'd like to start off by saying the country entered a high period of economic growth in 2006, and the year following managed to register 8% economic growth, a record it has sustained, which means the country has been growing exponentially in the economic field, uh, which turned Rwanda into one of the most fast growing economies in Africa. Another point I'd like to raise would be healthcare. The healthcare, the Rwandan healthcare sector's strategic plan of 2012-18. Their achievements were automation of systems, reporting compliance of HMIS, standardizing data quality assessment, and fiber optic network, increasing human capacity. So this all highlights how, at this rate, the Rwandan economy can be fully digitalized by the year 2030. And I'd like to present my group members, my teammates. For second speaker, we have Esther Roberts, and third speaker, we have Dear Chawal. So, yes, thank you.
What happened? Why did you stop?
Oh.
What deal? So I was wondering why you stopped. You
Okay.
still have minutes to go.
There was, I don't know, there was an issue. Sorry for that.
Oh,
Again, did you guys hear when I presented my team, or?
yeah, we heard that.
Okay, thank you. So, I'd like to start by saying okay. So the strategic priorities of the health sector of Rwanda would be to fully automate their systems, such as pension and whatnot. So by this, this was a project for the year 2012 to 2018, meaning that being achieved in the future years, in the years to come, there we will be able to achieve full digitalization of the Rwandan economy. And my second speaker will elaborate more on the points I've already stated.
Cool. Thank you. If the first affirmative speaker has elapsed, like has finished the arguments, then I guess we'll go to the first negative. I wanted to remind you again, this is a 7 minute speech. So, and Abel will be showing you the signs once the first minute has elapsed and you speak. And then if you want to raise points of information, you can raise them in the 5 minutes, and then the last minute as well is protected.
Okay.
First speaker.
I will be showing you a sign. When I do this, it means the first minute has elapsed, and then when I do this, it means it's projected time. All right. So we can have the first speaker from the negative.
Good afternoon. I'd like to confirm, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, the audio is a
Okay.
bit cracky on this.
So we would request the Hawks to turn off their audio in the meantime, unless they want to ask for a point of information. All right. Whenever
Can
you're
you hear
ready
me?
for a speaker, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, can the Hawks hear me?
I believe they can hear you.
Okay.
So
Okay. Good afternoon, dear judges. I'm here by the names of Cheetas and I'm the first speaker from the opposition side, together with my teammates, the second speaker, Mutasi Josephine, and the third speaker, Inez Aladous. Now, first of all, the motion of today states that this House believes that complete digitalization of the Rwandan economy can be achieved by 2030. Now, as the proposition side said, digitalization is transformation from an analog way to a digital way, and we agree with the proposition side. Now, first of all, the proposition side talked about healthcare. From 2012 to 2018, there was fiber optic network, there was improvement in the healthcare. But I'd like firstly to clarify that we're in 2021, and those statistics from 2012 up to 2018 don't include the coronavirus, which is a major backthrow in our economy since we're in 2021, since we have faced the coronavirus. And second of all, I'd like to clarify that healthcare is a social service, not an economical service. Now, moving on,
I'm so
as the
sorry to
opposition
disturb you,
said,
but I can't hear.
sorry. Wait. Let me pause your time.
I can hear nothing that they're saying. It's a cracky voice.
So it's a crappy voice because we can hear them perfectly.
Yeah, I can hear them perfectly. Probably you should check your internet.
I think they dropped off. They're back. All right, guys. So we can hear them perfectly. So I think it's the issue of your internet. So would you have it checked and then get back to us? Can you hear me though? Hawks. The Hawks, can you hear me?
Yeah. It's much better now.
All right.
So
I would request
even
them to.
if they can also turn on the video, please, so that even they can even see them. If it's your turn to speak, you can turn on your video so that people can see you.
Yeah. Teachers, we can carry on with where you had left off.
okay, I continue from where I left off.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, as I was saying, at the proposition side, our case line, we want to first eradicate the poverty, which is a major setback to the digitalization of our economy. Then, by digitalizing our economy, maybe by 2050. Now, first of all, the current situation in Rwanda here, according to our GDP, according to the Rwanda Institute of Statistics, there are 5 main sectors that contribute to the GDP of Rwanda, means that they contribute to the economy of Rwanda. There's the trade sector, the financial services, the hospitality sector, the agriculture sector, and the industry sector. The trade, financial services, and the hospitality sector together contribute up to 49.37% of the GDP of Rwanda, and the agriculture sector contributes up to 24% of the GDP of Rwanda, and the industry sector contributes up to 18%. Now, as the opposition side, we were mainly based on 3 arguments so as to show you that digitalization of the Rwandan economy cannot be possible by 2030. Our 3 main arguments are the low level of digitalization in the agriculture sector, which is the backbone of our economy, meaning that if it's not digitalized, then there is no complete digitalization. And we have the private sector reluctancy to invest in the promotion of digitalization in agriculture due to the lingering of the digital skills gap. Then we have the need of poverty eradication so as to achieve digital transformation. As the first speaker, I will mainly explain to you how our first argument, which is the low level of digitalization in agriculture, while it is the leading sector in the economy of Rwanda. Firstly, according to Minagri, which the Minister of Agriculture, agriculture employs up to 76% of the Rwandan population. 69% of those jobs are primary agriculture, which means it's the field work agriculture, digging and all that. And 7% of that is what is off-farm agriculture, which is trading agricultural products, processing those agricultural products, and even more. Now, for agriculture to be digitalized, we need the applications about climate change. We need sensors. We need robots. We need drones. Now, here in Rwanda, to carry out all the digitalization for agriculture, we need specialized people to carry out those things. But here in Rwanda, we only have 2 universities that are able to provide the skills and the knowledge to do all that. Those are RICA and those are the University of Rwanda, College of Agriculture, and College of Agriculture and Veterinary Sciences. Now, as I said, in Rwanda we don't have enough people to provide the skills so that there can be digitalization of the agriculture sector and digitalization of the economy. Now, since we don't have enough digital literacy or enough people to provide us with that digital learning, the digital literacy is merely 8.4%, which discourages every person who wants to invest in the digital economy of our country. Now, leading us to our second argument, which is that the private sector is reluctant to engage with the government. The government of Rwanda wants to engage with the private sector in order to increase digitalization in Rwanda. Accepted?
Does the speaker believe that agriculture does not have any concept related to digitalization?
It does have a concept related to digitalization. Now, here in Rwanda, since agriculture is the main sector that contributes to the economy of Rwanda, you have to remember that we're talking about digitalizing the economy of Rwanda, and the economy of Rwanda has its backbone, which is agriculture. Meaning that if we want to digitalize the economy of Rwanda, we cannot forget agriculture, which is the backbone of the economy of our country. Now, moving on, as I was saying, we don't have enough people who are able to transmit those skills or knowledge. We don't have people who have that skills and knowledge so as to digitalize our country. Digital literacy in Rwanda is merely 8.4%, which discourages the private sector, people who want to come and invest in our country. Since there will be no people investing in us, no people giving us money to invest in it, coming and investing in our country. There will be no people investing in it. And taking an example of Israel, they digitalized their agriculture and it boosted their economy since they first started by digitalizing their agriculture. That's being an example of Israel. So why not Rwanda? If one country can do it and digitalize its agriculture and boosting it up, maybe it's not even its main economic background, but us, because it's our main economic gain, then this means that if we boost our backbone of our country, backbone of our economy of our country, then we can boost our agriculture, our digital economy. Then now, as I showed you, there's 8.4%, which is people who are not literate. They are not digitally literate. Now, why are not people digitally literate? Because for a person to be digitally literate, they have to be firstly actually literate. There is a big percentage of people in Rwanda who are not literate, and they also have to be literate. As I said, there's this COVID-19 pandemic. If there's a COVID-19 pandemic, for people to train others so they can be literate, they have to be face-to-face. Now, as we know, we have the pandemic, which is not helping us in our digitalization of our economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. First opposition. Welcome the second speaker on the affirmative side, please. If you can, then please turn on the video, and if the internet is not good, then you can switch.
Okay, our internet is not very good, so we're not going to on our video. hope that's all right.
That's okay.
Okay, so my name is Esther Robert, and I am the second speaker on the proposition side. So I'm going to be refuting to their point where they were saying that no country is investing in Rwanda, which is false because statistics states that Portugal, UK, India, and the UAE are supporting us, Rwanda. Then telecommunication, 2005 in Rwanda, from the year 2000 to 2005. During this time, several institutions were put in place to drive the implementation of new ICT policy. These include an independent regulatory authority and national ICT agency. From 2006 to 2010, licensing of more operators and implementation of the national fiber optic backbone. Backhaul links to the submarine cable at the East African coast were also put in place. Several ICT flagship initiatives were also initiated. They also include the OLPC, which is one laptop per child, and eRwanda project. From 2011 to 2015, we focused on services, extending the benefits of increasing connectivity to people through transformation of services to government and citizens and businesses. 5 key domains were particularly targeted: skills development, cybersecurity, community development, e-government, and public sector development. These statistics were gained from www.minict.gov.rw. By 2019, mobile internet subscribers numbered 7 million, 58.3 for every 100 people. It has also facilitated digitalization of other services, among them financial mobile money, mobile banking services, agriculture, which is ESOKO, health and mobile e-health, and administrative services such as among them financial mobile money, mobile banking services, agriculture, which is ESOKO, health and mobile e-health, and administrative services such as Irambo. The statistics were got from www.worldbank.org. So if by this timeline we are able to digitalize half of our community, of our economy, I truly believe that by 2030 we'll be able to be completely digitalized in Rwanda. Next, governmental services. When government created the Irembo Citizen e-service portal in 2014, the idea was to help citizens submit applications and make payment for various services, thus shortening the gap between them and administration. Today, more than 96 services are just a button push away for more than 9 million subscribers, and thousands of others who can access the online services through Irembo agents across the country. In the past, to get a passport, for instance, one had to move from one office to another, collecting different documents and going to the bank to pay before getting the service you needed, said Beretha Buzen, a businesswoman in Kigali who often uses Irembo services. Today, through Irembo, you can get all those preliminary documents without leaving your seat. What used to take a week or even more and cost a lot has come down to 3 days and cost far less. This information was from World Bank. Transportation. Tap and Go, a contactless smart card automated fare collection system used on all public buses in Kigali. You can simply buy the card from, load it with money, and tap it on the card reader at the bus entrance. Tap and Go allows users to pay for their travel using electronic fare card that replace use cash, tickets, tokens, or passes on public transit. So this completely helps with COVID-19 because right now we have a lot of COVID restrictions, and this information was got from www.newstimes.co.rw. Also, we have financial services. One implemented a green policy, that is the strategy of transformation, NST1. Sorry.
No, carry on. Carry on.
Okay.
POI, please. POI.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry.
Point of
okay.
information,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, sure.
What fiber optics will help people practicing agriculture in Nyamasheke, where they have 60% of the people in Rwanda? What fiber optics will help them?
We have that five text.
This is not about, sorry, to answer your POI, this is not about the implications. This is about how it can be achieved by 2030. Anyways, continuing. When this country means by we should have a cashless and paperless economy by 2024, we are mind to shift and promote sustainable strategies such as deforestation in the long term. In collaboration with Pascal Technologies, a local tech startup, the government is distributing 20,000 motor meters to all taxi drivers in Kigali for free. This is only possible because of existing cashless infrastructure and new payment systems, which have been put forward in Rwanda as a result of the coronavirus crisis. This was by DW.com statistics. So if we are halfway in this economy, if we're three-fourths of our economy is already digitalized, I completely believe by 2030 we have the power. We can digitalize completely by 2030. Thank you.
All right, if you adhere your time, Chief Judge, you can orient the next.
Thank you. So up next we have the second speaker from the opposition side. Carry on, please.
Thank you, dear judges. My name is Amatis Josephine, the second opposer from the opposition side. First of all, I will first remind you about TESEL, which is eradicating poverty first and digitalization by 2050. And the second, I'm going to repeat what the second proposer just said. She talked about what has risen, the fiber optics, but we have showed you that 8.4% of the literacy people in the country, which is why we are discouraging this. If these people are being helped, if we are being helped by different countries, then why is our literacy rate very low? That's why we are going to show you the reasons why we think this is not possible by 2030. The fact here is not that we don't accept that digitalization has been achieved, but the problem is here is the period of years that we're having. We believe that this digitalization they're talking about can be completely achieved by 2030, and that's 2050. And again, they said about the healthcare, and we told them that healthcare is not it's a service. It's a service domain, not economic. And we told them that agriculture is one of the best sectors that the country is depending on.
Wait.
And I believe
You're speaking too fast that your audio is cut out. So could you try to go slower so that we can hear you?
Okay, I'm going to slow. Okay, I was talking about what they said about the health sector. We told them that the health sector is not economic. And we all know that the country of Rwanda depends on agriculture. So if we depend on agriculture, why not digitalize agriculture first, since it is the basis for other sectors? My first speaker gave you an example of Israel. We know Israel began its digitalization with agriculture and has gone to a far level. Why can't Rwanda do that? And that's the reason why we're talking about agriculture, because we need it first to stop in order to have the digitalization to other sectors. And if we need to digitalize agriculture, we have very many things to put in practice. She said, as my first speaker, the field robots and the sensors, the data-driven targeted application fertilizers, and all those things need specialists who will use them. They need money they need money to buy those objects and the gadgets. So that means the country has to invest much, has to involve itself to make sure that those objects and the gadgets are bought. And that is a very big problem, which is why we told you that the private sector has to involve itself. And again, the private sector is our second argument, has issues which I will talk about later. And we have seen that in order for people to use these machines that are going to be used in agriculture, they need to have skills. And we have only seen that in our country, we have only 2 universities that teach agriculture. That is Rika and UARA. So if there are only 2 countries that are going, if there are only 2 universities that teach agriculture, how are we going to achieve the specialists that we need? That is a big problem. And the statistics, the second proposal came saying that the number of people using internet and stuff has increased. We have seen, according to International Monetary Fund, that the GDP of the country has decreased by 0.2% in this COVID-19. So that means we have no money to invest in all things they're talking about. So first of all, that's one thing they have to realize. That's why we talked about poverty. The country is being faced by the poverty. That's why we have to talk about this. That's why we have to tackle the poverty issue. And then on our second argument of the private sector, we said we need the private sector to invest in us so that it can help us get trained specialists who are going to use these machines in whatever domain, whether agriculture, whether health sector that we're talking about. So we need these people that are going to train us. But the problem is, to train people, you have to first teach them, you have to first sensitize them, you have to first give them all the knowledge related to digitalization. And we have showed you that 8.4% of the country's population is only literate about digitalization. That means they have to have sessions of teaching people, and that cannot take place in 8 only years we are remaining with to reach 2030. That's the reason why it's very impossible to reach complete digitalization by 2030, because we have a lot of issues to to tackle. And on that, again, in the private sector, we need people that are going to help us use the materials that we even have in the country, the few ones we have in the country to be used. Because there's some of the materials that we have in the country, but they're not being used because we have few people that are literate about that. And that's why we think it cannot be achieved by 2030 because of the little time that we have. And on our third argument, which is lack of need to eradicate poverty, which comes along with the lack of affordability of smartphones and 4G compatible devices. First of all, I'll first tell you about the poverty level in the country. The poverty level is 38% under the poverty line. That is a big number of people who are very poor, who cannot even be able to buy themselves phones and who cannot be able to pay for themselves internet. And we have searched according to International Monetary Fund that a minimum salary wage of 100 is the amount of money that Rwanda is to get paid. And we all know that 1 gigabyte is 1,000. So imagine a person being paid 100 and going and buying a internet of 1,000. That is very impossible. That's why we have to first eradicate poverty in people so that we can sensitize them to use the digitalization that we're striving for. And that we all know that Internet came in Rwanda in 1996, and from 1996 up to now, only 52% of the people have been using internet. Imagine all the years between 1996 and now. 52% people have managed to use internet. That is a big problem which is going to affect us. And people will say most people now have phones. They will say most people now are now using phones. But we all know that all phones don't use internet. We know that very many people, especially those people in rural areas, do use phones that don't capture internet. And we have seen that only 18% of the people in the country use smartphones. And the Minister of Youth and ICT herself just said that the internet use has declined and it's only at 14.7 use, which means that there's a very big number of people who have not been adjusted to using it. First solved, because before anything else, people have to first reduce the poverty range in people so that they can be encouraged to use other things that are favorizing them to reach digitalization. And I believe that if people have no other problems with the poverty, they will be adapted to use the digitalization that each and every person accepts. And that's why, as the proposition side, have to show us how that is going to be achieved with the poverty problem that is being faced in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the second speaker from opposition side. I think we can now welcome the third speaker from proposition side. Cheetas, can you hear? Sorry, Hawks, can you hear us? GHA, Green Hills, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you. So, hello.
All right.
My name is Dhir Chavla, and I am the third speaker from Team Hawks and Green Hills Academy Defense Team. So, first of all, before I start, I'd like to refute some points that they stated. During their first speaker, they mentioned about robots, and we believe that it is not about robots and how it is being implemented. Digitalization, it's not about how it's being implemented. The debate that we are in today is focused on how and can it be achieved in the next 9 years. And second of all, I would be quite disappointed to point out that the opposition has only and only focused on agriculture in Rwanda, yet we focused on various sorts of different areas such as telecommunication, healthcare, governmental services, financial services. Yes. And thirdly, they said various sorts of things about fiber optics, and they mentioned us saying things about fiber optics. Yet, I'd like to clarify that we have said absolutely nothing about fiber optics. The second speaker, Esther Robert, has said nothing about fiber optics. And fourthly, the second speaker from the opposition side stated that the motion was until 2050. Yet, I would like to remind her that the motion is restricted to the year 2030. And yes, and today, to refute their point about agriculture, we would like to tell them that in Rwanda, we have various technologies and digitalizational needs that, such as agricultural drones, satellite photography and sensors, IoT-based sensor networks, face tracking, weather forecast machines, automated irrigation, and light and heat control in all sorts of areas which revolve around agriculture. Now I'd like to move on to summarizing what my previous two speakers have stated. So I'd like to start off by redefining the motion. So we
Something must have happened to their internet. All
sorry.
right, you're back. It's okay. I had paused your time. Carry on.
Okay, so I would like to remind you that we are supporting the motion. This House believes that complete digitalization of the Rwandan economy can be achieved by the year 2030. So, my first speaker elaborated the motion by defining the terms digitalization, which is the process of converting information into a digital format. The Rwandan economy, the major aspects of the economy, which are financial services, telecommunication, transport, and healthcare. And to achieve something is to bring out something, successfully something. Yeah. So the country has entered a period of economic growth, high economic growth since the year 2006, and the following year managed to register 8% economic growth, a record it has sustained ever since that year, turning it into one of the most fastest growing economies in the entire Africa. Then my second speaker moved to telecommunication. She stated the timeline of telecommunication all across Rwanda. And so the year 2000 to 2005 was focused on putting in place the foundational legal and regulatory framework to allow the liberalization of the telecommunication sector and attract private sector investments. Then from the year 2006 to 2010, the focus was put on accelerating infrastructure rollout to connect people to increased coverage of telecommunication networks. And from 2011 to 2015, we were focused on services, extending the benefit with ease and without any internet, without any disturbance. And by 2019, the mobile internet subscribers numbered 7 million in Rwanda, which is 58.3 people out of every 100 people in the country. I believe that if we've achieved so much in so little time, we surely believe that the rest that is not achieved yet can definitely be achieved by the year 2030. Then my first year was again on the healthcare in Rwanda, which is digitalized, and we have achieved from the year 2012 to the year 2018. We have achieved the automation of systems, of various systems in terms of healthcare. We're now able to report compliance with the HMIS. We've standardized data quality assessment, and the Rwandan Health with Rwandan Health Enterprise with the help of the Rwandan Health Enterprise Architecture Initiative. And the fiber optics and the increased human resource capacity. While we were stating all of these, the opposition was talking only and only about the agriculture, which, as I stated, is there in Rwanda, and it is pretty digitalized from our perspective. Then we moved on to governmental services, which, with the help of Irembo, we can do all the services with hardly any movement and with the least and most minimal cost that can be imagined. And so we have the Irembo services today, which are 96 and more than 96 services, just a button push away from more than 9 million subscribers all around Rwanda, and thousands of others who can access the online service portal through Irembo agents across the country. And then we move to transportation. My second speaker spoke about bus travel and how it has been made extremely easy with the help of technology and digitalization. We have put into place the Tap and Go service, which is a contactless smart card automated fare collection system, and it is used on almost all public buses in Kigali. And this has also helped us in the reduction of COVID-19 pandemic in Rwanda. Hence, we believe that the digitalization of Rwanda has been very useful. We move to financial services. Rwanda has, as a matter of fact, implemented a green policy, which NAT Strategy of Transformation, NST1, by venturing into a cashless and paperless economy by 2024. Today, at nearly all, and as we were stating all of these, I'd like to remind the judges again that the opposition was only and only focusing on agriculture. Move on. And the government of Rwanda is very, very determined and is very confident that we as Rwandans will be able to see a cashless and paperless economy by the year 2024 itself. And to trigger a mind to shift and promote sustainable strategies such as deforestation in the long term. In collaboration with Pascal Technologies, a local tech startup, the government is distributing 20,000 motor meters to all taxi drivers in Kigali for free. This is only possible because of the existing cashless infrastructure and new payment systems that have been put forward in Rwanda as a result of the coronavirus crisis. Thank you. And I believe that the opposition has not come up with enough facts, data, and statistics to refute our data, and hence I think we have won this debate fair and square. Thank you.
All right. I think they're done, so we can welcome the third speaker from the opposition side.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm by the names of Ines Radus, and I'm the third opposer. And here, let me first remind the proposers about the debate motion. It says that complete digitalization of Rwanda's economy can be achieved by 2030. So here, I don't think the proposer side are able to get the real idea of what completely totally means. Here they have showed us that economic growth has boosted, but actually economic growth is different from economic digitalization. And also they talked about the other sectors such as financial services. And here we're totally basing actually on agriculture since the main backbone of our economy. So if we base on it, it's because the 76% of the population are engaged in agriculture, and 69% of the jobs are primary agriculture, and 7 are in primary agriculture such as distribution. And also the digitalization of agriculture looks like using the field robots, drones, field analysis centers, and etc. But yet, only traditional methods are only being used. This is because we have seen that the university is able to provide the faculty of agriculture are only 2 in Rwanda. Here also we have seen due to the COVID-19, 7.2% dropouts were seen in primary school and 8.2% dropouts were seen in secondary school. So due to this, it proves that digital illiteracy is still at high level. Hence, bringing back to our second suggestion was Rwanda is not producing the number of digital specialists needed nor the requisite very bad to propel the kind of cross-sectional digitalization transformation that Rwanda aspires to achieve. ICT courses are offered by many different types of TVET institutions, but few are considered actually to be digital specialist level. The courses are available through public and private universities. They focus mainly on computer maintenance, software development, and programming. But actually, this is not what we need. There is a misalignment between the skills which are taught to the students and also to the people that we need to achieve the total complete digitalization of the economy that Rwanda aspires to achieve. Hence, here we also see the fact that those universities, although they are able to provide the faculty of agriculture, not everyone then is able to provide the money that they need in order to engage into those faculties. And also, the digital skill gap is the key cross-cutting barrier to increasing digital adoption in the economy. The weak local demand of digital services discourages the private sectors from investing, as was seen by the second speaker. The low level of digital literacy, where digital literacy we have seen that it was about 8.4%, discouraging the usage of even the most basic digital services and dampens the demand of more advanced tools and devices. Actually, the opposers have said the NST1, they were mainly focusing on that, but NST1 actually looks at to ensure digital literacy for all youth, example between the age of 16 and 30 years by 2040, through national implementation of the National Digital Literacy Program, which is the objective of achieving the digital literacy at least 60% among adults to 2024. Now, what about the other 40% of the left? Are we sure? They have not showed us that we will be sure that the other 40% will be achieved within the next 6 years to come between 2024 up to 2030. Actually, and also we have seen in order to be able to achieve the complete digitalization that we need, it means that there will be higher use of the 4G broadband. But here I've seen that we can see that 72% use 2G, there's 2G penetration, and also 25.9% is 3G, and also the 2.1% which is left is the only one which is using the 4G. So here, I don't understand, I don't think that the proposers are able to get this, since the statistics are able to show us that this is not real and it's not going to be achieved. And also, we are coming to the third point, which is the affordability of devices, and broadband remains a key barrier. The percentage cost of handsets prevents some households from acquiring the phones, which typically stops them from accessing mobile and broadband services together. So here we can see that the people of Rwanda don't have enough money they need to be able to acquire those digital services that they will need. And also, the 4G has a 96.6 coverage, but it's not affordable. Here we can see that 1 gigabyte costs 1,000 Rwandan francs, and we all know that the medium wage of Rwandan is 1,000 francs. So actually, by comparing this, we can see that the people of Rwanda are not yet being able to provide the money that they need to buy to afford those services. And also, the GDP during the coronavirus has dropped by 0.2% from 2019, where it was supposed to rise. They expected it to rise to 8%. Hence, the poverty headcount is likely to rise to 5.1%. This shows that the Rwandan economy is facing some challenges, which needs to be solved in order for the digital economy to be successfully achieved. And also, as we've asked the proposition side, we have told them that completely is mainly about focusing on all the five main domains of the economy. They were only basing on the financial sector and also the transportation, but they take actually a small coverage of the whole economy of Rwanda. We have seen that the 24% of the GDP is actually provided by the agriculture domain. So, if we're not able to provide this agriculture, to show us that the agriculture is able to provide to be able to achieve the complete digitalization, it means that they're not going to be able to, they didn't show us anything at all, since we have proved that agriculture is the main backbone of Rwandan economy. And also, what we were mainly saying is not that we don't agree that digitalization economy should not be achieved. We believe because digital economy will help the economy of Rwanda to boost. But what we're saying is that we need to first eradicate the poverty. Maybe by 2050, we'll be able to achieve what we call the complete digitalization. So, thank you very much. And we would end by calling them to a side since we're short and
Thank you, the opposition side, for wrapping up the debate. So we're going to give you 5 minutes to prepare your reply speech. Again, reply speech is 4 minutes, and we're going to start from the opposition side. 5 minutes, and then we kick off for the reply speech. Rebecca, can you mute, please? 1 minute to wrap up, please. So if you could start, we could start with the opposition side with your reply speech, 4 minutes, and Abe will show you once the 4 minutes have elapsed. The Cheetas, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much. I'm back, first speaker from the opposition side, Citeaux Karin, for the reply speech. Now, first of all, on the affirmative side, what we saw here is they don't know the situation in Rwanda. As the opposition side, as we started our speech by showing you the contribution of the different sectors to the GDP of the country, meaning the economy of the country, we showed you how agriculture is the main one which contributes to the economy of Rwanda, and we showed you how it contributes to the economy of Rwanda. As the affirmative side said, they talked about healthcare, how from 2012 and 2018, there was improvement of healthcare. We told them healthcare is not an economic service, it's a social service, as we showed according to the Rwanda Institute of Statistics, as we showed the 5 main sectors that contribute to the economy of Rwanda. The first speaker talked about fiber optics, and the third speaker came here and told us they didn't say anything about fiber optics, which is clearly a contradiction. They talked about automated irrigation in Rwanda. As our third speaker said, there is no automated irrigation in Rwanda. As you can see, they did not follow any format. We showed you our case line. The proposition side didn't show us any case line as to what they were doing. As you could see, the proposition side didn't say anything, didn't understand the perfect meaning of complete. They were focusing on only one thing, which is telecommunication and transport. As we showed you, there are 5 main contributors to the sectors, and they talked about how we were basing only on agriculture, and we showed you how agriculture is the biggest contributor to the economy of Rwanda, meaning that if there's complete digitalization, you want complete digitalization, it means that it also has to be completely digitalized by 2030. We showed you how complete digitalization of the economy of the agriculture sector in Rwanda is not possible by 2030, meaning that if it's the biggest contributor and it's not possible by 2030, it means that the complete digitalization will not be possible, since the biggest sector contributing to it will not be possible. Now, they talked about we asked them how we just said how they don't know the situation in Rwanda. As we said, 76% of the population of Rwanda, 76% of the population of Rwanda are engaged in agriculture, are employed by agriculture. Since we showed you how they're employed by agriculture, if it's not totally digitalized, it means that that's where Rwanda takes its money. That's where the people of Rwanda take their earnings, meaning that it's just completely digitalized, and all the people are not facing digitalization. Then, if agriculture is not facing it, then the whole economy will not be facing it. Now, here we're talking about, in the debate, we're talking about economy, and they're mainly based on telecommunication and others. They didn't understand the fact that we're talking about economy, talking about money, talking about how people are earning and how the people are living. And they talked about only 9 years, and dear judges, as they know, the fiscal year starts only in July, meaning that we had only left 8 years. And as they said, they talked about statistics from 2006 up to 2010, 2011, up to 2015, 2019. As we showed them in our first speech, they were not acknowledging the COVID-19 pandemic, which, as we said, reduced the GDP of our country reduced 0.2% of the GDP of our country, as the first speaker and the second speaker said. It reduced 0.2% of the GDP of our country, meaning that it reduced our economy as the COVID-19 pandemic, and the affirmative side did not take into account the COVID-19 pandemic. That is why, dear judges, we are welcoming you to our side. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the opposition side. I welcome the affirmative side as well for the reply speech, please.
Okay. Okay, so throughout this debate, we've been noticing that the second opposing team has been only focusing on agriculture, while our only agriculture, they've only been focusing on irrigation and agriculture, while our third speaker actually pointed out that there is automatic irrigation. They refused our point of information in when the second speaker was speaking, and while we summarized our timelines, accepted all points of information, and we described several parts of the economies, like several parts of the economies already online, like ESOKO or IREMBO, while they were only focusing on agriculture. They also tended to misquote us while saying that some of our statistics were wrong, while statistics are from non-sites like we mentioned, www.world bank, and they have no proof that our statistics were wrong. We had complete information with even known sources. We did a case study, which they mentioned that was not done. We did a case study. Our second speaker did a case study. And in this debate, statistics, data, and sources, we gave all of that while they refused to and they were not able to. So tackled all parts of economy, such as transportation, marketing, while they were completely focused on agriculture. So in this debate, I believe that we did statistics, data, and the sources that we got our statistics from. So we believe that we've won our debate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we can pass it to the chief adjudicator so that they can tell you what's next.
Thank you, both teams. A round of applause for everyone. We don't have an audience, so I'll be doing that. Thank you for your inputs and for all the contributions, as well as the patience that you had since we started a little bit late. As I communicated, or as you were communicated, this is a silent debate. So the judges are going to do the deliberation, and then you get to know your marks after the second rounds. So thank you all for your inputs. Again, you go and check where you are in the second round and ensure that you go there and know which side you are. Again, this is a motion that we've been given. This House believes that complete digitalization of Rwandan economy can be achieved by 2030. So please ensure that you understand the motion itself, but I'll not give a specific.
Yeah, we can hear you, but the video does not work.
Yes, can you please?
I can
Yeah,
hear you.
yeah. So if you can mute, and then I'll finish what I was saying.
We can hear you. We can hear you. Because
So Brian, if you can mute for a second so that I finish my speech.
Yes, I'm able to hear you, but Brian, could you mute so that we can finish the chief adjudicator's speech and then we can discuss about the debates when the teams have left for the next rooms?
Cool. So like I was saying, I'm not going to give specific observations from the debate, but on a general note, we need to understand like our roles as teams and be able to understand if I'm on the affirmative side, what's my role in this motion. Because if you already can see this motion is a policy motion, it means it's a policy that have been put in place. So as an affirmative, you need to understand what's your role in ensuring that this policy, you get to emphasize how it's going to work. If it's already there, how is it working? Or an action plan on how the next few years to come, this is going to be achieved. As well as on the negative side, you all understand that your part is either to agree, disagree that this is not going to be, the timeline is a bit short. If you also have like a counter plan of that specific timeline that you think would work out, this is also your role. So as you go to the next round, ensure that you understand the motion, how you can take on this motion so that you're able to attain the points needed. So if there are no other questions, you go.
I have one more remark. I think it would you guys best if you time yourselves, because most of you are actually using very little time compared to the time you have. So if you have a way to time yourselves, that would work in your favor.
Sure. You have 7 minutes at your
I
disposal
had
to
a
be
very
able
simple
to
question for you.
speak.
Was this a
Please
policy
go on.
debate or an evaluation one?
It was a policy debate.
Emotion.
Policy.
I
Okay,
said
fine.
motion. I didn't say. It's a
It might be
policy
a
motion. It's not. It's World School debate format, but I was just giving a general observation on the motion itself. So if you can go back, if you see on the top side of your laptop or whatever you're using, you can go backstage and then go to your respective rooms to prepare for the second round.
Lycée Notre Dame, just click on stage and then you can go for the next round. I believe we're judges here. Brian, you
Yeah.
came late, so you don't know what happened.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Basically,
hear
I
you,
didn't hear
Sandra.
the
Hello?
first speaker or proposition.
Can you hear me?
Sandra, we can
Yeah,
hear
but
you.
Yes,
I didn't get
okay,
the first
perfect.
speaker
I've
proposition.
exited, I've removed the Lycée Notre Dame de Citeaux from here. So I
Okay.
believe the following teams are now Rivera and Kawe. So we're going
All
to tell
right.
them to log in.
All right. When is the debate supposed to start?
It was supposed to start 20 minutes ago,
Okay.
but we were delayed because of all the internet issues, but we're now telling the students to
Yeah, but the
log in.
question is, when are they going to start?
Well, we're telling them right now to actually log in.
So once
So
they log in, they immediately start?
Yes, I believe once they log in, the two teams log in because we are a bit delayed right now. We're 20 minutes delayed. Once they log in, they will start, okay?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Just give me 1 second.
I guess we also have to go backstage, and then we wait for them and
All right, Riviera, how are you? Riviera, can you hear me? I don't think anybody can hear me. Can you hear me? Hello, can anyone hear me? Sandra, Lisa, Riviera, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you. Like I can hear you well. I
Dude,
think
then
they
what's
are
wrong
on
with you?
mute. I thought
No,
you're
no,
calling on with. I thought
no,
you're
no.
calling on with Viola. I didn't know. I couldn't.
I thought it was the problem with my audio. All right, Riviera, but apparently I don't think Riviera can hear us because they're not speaking. Riviera, can you hear us?
They probably have. They are on mute. I don't know if they know
Their
that.
audio is not on mute. Their audio is not on mute, I can see. So they
I
probably
can see
left
that
and
they
they.
are muted.
Sorry?
I'm calling them. I can see that Riviera is muted. I'm calling them. Hello.
Abel, could you please help Brian to change the room? I think we left him in the other room.
I'm not sure we
Okay,
did.
hold
Let me
on.
go
Give me
check.
1 second.
Hello, anybody there?
Yes.
Okay, please. So we're waiting for the other team, the Eagles, and then we can kick off.
Lisa, now I got here because the last session was cancelled. Nako was ended, so technically it can't be in an ended session.
I'll write to him and see.
Yeah, but if he's not around, we can just carry on, I guess.
No, we're waiting for the other team. The Eagles, the faraway team.
Okay. So we have the team. Could you guys check your microphones? Like, say hi, say your name, and then go mute.
Could I have my...
Hello, Audrey. How are you?
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Sorry, judges. I forgot to inform you that one of Riviera's participants won't be able to come, so there will only be 2.
Okay.
Wait, there will be 2 speakers?
Yes, the third one is actually unfortunately absent today.
Will they
Yeah, but we
have
can already
alternative
see
roles?
3. We can already see 3. There's Mujisha, there's Ruzindana, and Audrey.
Yes,
So.
and I don't know how the 3 of them are connected, but I've just spoken with the patron right now, and Riviera. So one of them cannot attend.
Okay. So the Riviera team Mujisha, he's supposed to be a first speaker, but he's not around. But the person who is on that account is Ben, and he's...
All right. So Audrey, how do you suggest we go about this? Because if you don't have a first speaker, have you already organized how you're going to go through it, or?
Yes, we did. I'm doing first speech and third, and then Joel is doing second and reply speech.
All right. If you have it sorted, then I don't see a problem with that. How are you guys, anyways?
Asha, we're good.
Long time no see.
Yeah.
Nzi ko mwarangije mwese.
Simero kuducika kwa kugiye kwiga se?
Abagiye kwiga nibagaruka se?
Ntiwagarutse rero.
I can't seem to see the audio ya Ruzindana. Can he say hi as well?
I can. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to Mugisha to tell him to mute his audio if he's the audience. If he's simply audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, the egos. How are you? Do you have everyone with you? Like, do you have your team members with you? Okay. Do we have the cranes? If you could turn on your video once so that we get to see you. Anyone? Audrey Ruzindana? Okay.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
All right.
So you said you'll be going to alternate for the third row.
Yes.
So
So I'm doing first and third, and then Joel is doing second
second and reply speech.
Cool. Thank you. So
Hello,
good
did you hear
afternoon,
her?
everyone. I did. Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lisa Imbonawache, and I'll be your chief 12. Audrey, anyone?
We're good, but we wanted to know if not putting on the video would be okay.
Yes, if you're struggling with the internet, no problem.
Okay.
I wanted you to state the motion as you have it. Okay, give me a second. Abia, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here. It's just that I turned off my audio. My video, sorry.
Okay. So, Audrey, whenever you're ready, please kick off.
So I'll be starting my timer in a few. So yeah, I'm starting my timer right now. Thanks to the strong political will to leverage ICT as a key enabler for Rwanda's growth, we have seen great initiatives that have contributed to the achievement of the 4 phases of the 20-year ICT strategy by the National Information and Communication Infrastructure. Side proposition today sides with the fact that given Rwanda's position in implementation of the first 4 phases in the NICI strategic plan, the will and resources to improve a 9-year time frame is enough to attain a complete digitalized economy. Before I present my case, the key terms in this debate. So number one, a digitalized economy. Side proposition believes that transactions and communications are the 2 most important candidates of digitalization because they are the only aspects of the economy that are being improved specifically using digital technologies, the technology elements. Other aspects of the economy are just having a system where all the digital technologies are incorporated in their sector, but not fully specifically digitalized. And then in the end, therefore, a digitalized economy is one in which transaction and communication means are done using digital technologies. And secondly, we believe that complete is having all the necessary and appropriate parts, and thus we believe that in a digitalized economy, while not all transactions specifically are supposed to be aren't supposed to be carried out digitally, it is possible that the economy can be sustained without cash. In this sense, this means that we are standing for a cashless economy and digitalized communication means. And then in the end, our case. So our case is entitled the AAD, that stands for Availability, Accessibility, and Digital Literacy. Today, said proposition will 1, present the 3 major factors of a complete digitalized economy of which they would exist. In 2, prove to you how and why that would in need 9 years are enough to attain these goals. So number 1, availability. We believe that there is need for an increase in innovation and production of effective technologies that facilitate a digitalized economy for us to get there. And secondly, accessibility. This technology should be affordable and accessible for all of the Rwandan population, especially the rural and also in the urban sector. And then the last one, which is digital literacy, we believe the Rwandan citizens should not only be able to access them, but also know how to use them. So the bigger part of our case today is how will we attain this? So the simple plan today is to increase all the current government efforts to sustain the changes that have happened, due to their plan as well. So for availability, believe that one, the Rwanda already stands a solid 79.8% phone penetration, but we still need to come to improve that by increasing the current Connect Rwanda campaign aims at collecting 1 million smartphones through donation to be distributed to poor families across the country. Currently, only 40,000 telephones have been distributed, but we believe that there is enough room for us to reach the 960,000 telephones that have not yet been distributed. And secondly, we have seen that the mobile money transaction grew by 450% in 3 months, from 7.2 billion Rwandan francs to 40 billion from January to May 2020, according to a report by Rwanda Utilities Regulatory Authority, that is RURA. So we believe that the current circumstances of the COVID-19 have helped us to reach such a great extent of many people going in terms of availing people with digital technologies when it comes to transactions. But we believe that there is room for improvement, which is what we are going to do, and by sustaining such a system. So we also have the other problem, which is electricity problem. But right now we believe that Rwanda is on grid installed solar energy, in which 12.230 megawatts are already expected. 480 megawatts of power import per year is already expected. And we believe that there's also a report that from 2012, 9.5% of electricity access has increased to a 35% of electricity access as of 2021. So that's a 25% increase in just 9 years, and we just need another 25% in 9 years, which we believe we can attain through funding and through more efforts to sustain such a thing. And then in the end, we also need networking, all right? So we believe that the International Telecommunication Union has already done something in a partnership with RURA, whereby they have undertaken a project to deploy wireless broadband connectivity across the country, which with a focus on rural areas. The project is helping to provide free or low-cost digital access for schools, hospitals, and for undeserved population to access online services and information. Having that step, we believe that improvement is really easy because we have the precedents and we have the backbone to back us up. So sustainability is still our plan. And then in the end, we believe that, in terms of affordability, right now what the government is doing, we're going to sustain it, which is removing or eliminating the transaction fees. So we believe that by today, mobile money transactions have increased by 450% from January to May because of the elimination of the transactions, of the fees for transactions. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to sustain such a thing, such a process, and we are going to get there. So lastly, in terms of digital literacy, we believe that the awareness created by the COVID-19 pandemic for us to adjust the new normal is something that should be sustained, is something that we should put in more effort through the officials and many more officials from the lower sectors to the upper, sectors. We believe that through awareness and digital education, we shall reach that in 9 years. So with the great digital transformation in the transaction sector, like more use of the Momo, Tap and Go, the Bank of Kigali mobile services, Western Union money transfer services, and secondly, the communication sector through the Irembo services, SMS that have replaced letters, and so many more social media platforms. And the fact that in 2014, Rwanda was the second country in the sub-Saharan African to switch off its analog television signal and migrate to the digital broadcasting. We believe that if we are able to sustain such steps that Rwanda has taken throughout from 2001 to 2020, we believe that sustaining such steps is our way forward in order to attain a sustainable or a digitalized economy. Having said that, I am proud to affirm.
Thank you, first speaker from the affirmative side, and now will come the first speaker from the negative side.
I start off. Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Awasem Natasha. I'm from the opposition side, and thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm with Character Choice and Sheja Benini. So we stand here so strongly adhering to this motion that states that the House believes complete digitalization of Rwanda's economy can be achieved by 2030, which we don't agree. Dear ladies and gentlemen, the first speaker talked about complete digitalization. She described it in a way that we are not going to come back to, but I don't think that's the way we are going to state it. Here is what we mean by complete digitalization. Complete means having something full. I agree with them. But with nothing missing. With what? Nothing missing at all. Therefore, complete digitalization of economy is, in other words, having the digital economy of a country or a religion in all components in fully without anything missing. So that is according to the World Dictionary. And here I'll come back refuting on what the first speaker came with her case line. They talked about the AAD as the case line, which I'm really amazed at. Okay, availability. We already have infrastructure. What do I mean by infrastructure? We have electricity. We have networks, right? But these networks are not reaching rural areas. I talk about countryside areas. So when they come talk about electricity, they talk about networks. They talk about how the COVID-19 pandemic has put an area and a platform for the digital transformation. I don't really think so. This is the reasons why I don't think so. My dears, I'm talking about the 9,600 phones she talked about that were remaining. If we're talking about complete digitalization, these 9,600 should be filled in order for it to be complete, because you're looking about the complete digitalization in 9 years to come. So from now, if we're talking about COVID-19 pandemic, dear proposers, first understand, this was a pandemic. This was a severe pandemic. Though the world gave donations to Rwanda, let's take an example. Jack Ma donated Rwanda with some healthy materials, but here we are on a state that we want to accomplish we want to accomplish a complete digitalization by 9 years from now, which means this COVID-19 has a less impact to stabilize the digital transformation that was built in 20 years from 2000. No, I deny. Electricity is still important. This is what I mean when you talked about electricity. This was a statistic that was made by www.deniedplease.com. I'll give you my last minute. So if you're talking about electricity, how it's going to be provided and stabilized in rural areas or whatever you talked about, you don't have to mention that, because this is so specific that electricity is being imported from Uganda right now, and the hydro electric power that we're still in process of trying, it's not going to give us complete digitalization that we really are talking about in today's motion. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, I want to address this with my following points. First of all, they talked about accessibility, the way they're going to educate, they're going to give the digital education. I want to alert you that digital education requires funds. It requires sources. It requires statistics that are going to help these people who are in rural areas who don't have any education on the Ilembo that you're talking about, on the Isoko that you're talking about, to know it in order it to be filled from now, 9 years from now. So here are my following views. The reason why we're arguing about this is because we found out that labor force survey trends made in 2020 in November, Rwanda's economy exclusively agriculture based. What do I mean? Agriculture is the main basis of our economy, and we're talking about Rwanda's economy. That's right, judges. So I want to pull your attention, dear judges and dear viewers, that in this 90%, they talked about that more than 90% of the population makes the livelihood of producing food crops. And in this 90%, Rwanda's has 80% using sustainable farming, which means they use hose for home feeding because they can't use tractors to cultivate food for themselves. And moreover, according to macro.net
macrotrends.net, 90% of domestic cropland is on the slopes ranging from 5% and 55%. Dear proposers, I'm giving you this for you to give us tangible statistics and tangible facts to emphasize on how you're going to solve this problem, because Rwanda is a hilly country. So, dear judges, once again, I'm going to talk about electricity with my fellow proponents, where choice is going to talk about electricity and network, so much in emphasis with a reference from frontourism.com, and also we'll also talk about the network grid, which they talked about, but I, using the website that I'm outlining, www.digitalplatform.gwa, which says that 7,000 kilometers are the ones being covered by 4G LTE. So, dear Rwandans who are watching wherever you are, I want to alert you that if they're talking about complete digitalization, it has to reach up to you. So you don't assure us in 26,338 kilometers, 7,000 kilometers are the ones being covered. So how are we going to accomplish the complete digitalization? That's not going to be achieved at all. So once again, I want to alert you that the Rwanda status quo right now, we're in the pandemic, right? And most of the cases you find the status quo basis is like it's a proof to what we are going to say. So if we are going to talk about being transformed from 2021 to 2030 with a complete digitalization, right now we should be seeing proof, tangible proof. If they're going to bring about I'm going to give you the 30 seconds, last 30 seconds. If they're talking about the stages that are being laid, thank you so much. My time is done.
Thank you, first speaker from the negative side. I now welcome the second speaker from the affirmative side. The floor is yours.
Joel?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Let me just start my timer, and we'll be beginning. Investment in ICT is essential in taking any country to the next level of productivity and efficiency. Investing in ICT is not at the expense of other sectors. Investing in ICTs results in benefits for every sector, and the earlier you start, the better. Ladies and gentlemen, these are words from His Excellency Paul Kagame, ladies and gentlemen. Before I go into my case, I'd like to first introduce myself. My name is Uzinaramazi Joel Benjamin, and I'm here as the second speaker from Side Affirmative on the hereby stated motion. Now, before I can go into our case, let me first define some key let me give some key refutations. Number one, we keep talking about how they keep insisting how they agree with everything we are saying except like the complete part, right? Complete means with nothing missing, right? And we're here to show you that with nothing missing, this will be achieved. Now, they also talked about how like they agree completely that this availability, like they agree on the availability part, that electricity exists, that there is availability of different resources. Ladies and gentlemen, we have definitely won on one of our pillars of accessibility, so we're only left with proving we've done our case of saying availability is there. Now we're left with accessibility and digital literacy. Let me tackle that. Number one, they keep coming here and telling us that accessibility is not there, but they kept saying that like we have no statistics and we have to give clear-cut statistics. But ladies and gentlemen, they gave us no statistics. So let's go with what we have. On our side, the first speaker came talking about how electricity is there. She said how Rwanda expects 400 watts of power input per year. And let's do some math. She gave you some logical evidence. Number one, we have the fact that Rwanda is investing towards receiving more electricity. And number two, there's logical evidence. If in 2012, 9 years ago, Rwanda had a 9% of electricity access, now we have a solid 35% of grid electric electricity accessibility. To reach 100% electricity accessibility, Rwanda projects a 52% increase in off-grid accessibility to be enough to add up to the already existing 49%. Therefore, we believe that, ladies and gentlemen, in our plan, these 9 years will be sufficient, because not only is the rate enough, the rate it is right now, we also have the fact that it is accelerating more and more as time progresses. Rwanda is having more and more capacity to increase how fast it is increasing dissemination of electricity and infrastructure that supports electricity. We believe that right now the government has the best interests of its citizens at heart and is trying to increase electricity access. We also have the fact that they
Point of
talked about
information, dear Speaker.
I'll give you time. They talked about an issue of like, well, people are not able to learn about this. Number one, we'd like to provide them information that right now, as we're speaking, Rwanda seeks according to KT Press, Rwanda seeks to achieve digital literacy for all youth by 2024. And so that is already part of the status quo. So upon implementation of our plan, we already have that assured that by 2024, all youth will be digitally literate. And then we also have to tackle the rest of the population. Then we have initiatives such as the different initiatives that are trying to spread digital literacy, such as on the low levels in districts and in sectors. There's people there. There's volunteer groups. There is organizations that are trying to implement digital literacy. There's the incorporation of digital technology in our education system, which will increase how many people are able to understand how to use digital technology. There is the awareness itself due to COVID, because COVID has made people aware of how much they need to tackle our how much digital technology is essential in the economy. And then we talked about how like there's also donations from different organizations. We talked about how there is
Dear
such
Speaker,
a big
point of information.
I'll give you time in the last minute. We have so much incentive for increase in this digital literacy. And talking about agriculture, again, that's number one, we'd like to disagree with them. 90% of Rwanda isn't involved with agriculture, 70% is, which means their statistics are old. But even if they were 90% or 70%, regardless, we do not understand how that is in conflict with digitalizing our economy, ladies and gentlemen. Because you can have a farmer who is there, but as long as they're able to transact digitally, as long as they're able to access digital key infrastructure, then regardless of whether they are a farmer or not, that is besides the point. The point is that they're able to exist in a digital economy. And then we talked about how also there's plans for increasing that. The whole point is Rwanda is trying to be smart by trying to increase all of that. In terms of agriculture, Rwanda is putting in the investment to try to increase tractors, to try to increase
Point of
technology.
information.
And that's besides the point, because those are just technologies, not specifically digital technologies, which brings me to my case. Our case is not saying all types, all forms of the economy. We're just saying specifically these two things, which are communication and transactions. Transactions being the backbone of our economy. Therefore, if we digitalize transactions, then we'll have a cashless economy, and that is synonymous with the digital economy. So if we're able to prove that we're able to completely digitalize our transactions, then we've taken this debate. And also we talked about how there's communication, how Rwanda is trying to be a country that does not use analog system, that is moving away from analog to digital. An initiative that has started since 2014 when Rwanda became the second sub-Saharan African country to eliminate analog TV broadcasting, ladies and gentlemen. All of these are initiatives of Rwanda trying to move from analog to digital. So this digitalization of the economy. These two areas are the ones that are key. So in that definition, in that context, digitalization of the economy does not mean making every single aspect of the economy, making it digital, incorporating technologies, but instead incorporating technologies in these key areas that are specifically targeted, i.e. transactions and communication. Now, transactions. What are these transactions? We are here talking about how Rwanda has been trying to become a cashless economy, how we came giving you the three pillars of our policy. Number one, how we have to increase availability. They agreed, they conceded that availability is there, so we win that. Then there is accessibility. We talked about how we're improving accessibility by increasing electricity availability. availability by increasing digital, and we talked about how we're increasing the awareness of people and how much people wants to use these digitalized technologies. And then also we talked about how there is an increase in literacy. So not only are they there, not only are they accessible for everyone, now there's also the increase in those technologies, how much people use them. On the point of accessibility, we have to talk about how there has been an increase incentive of people. We talked about how due to coronavirus, there has been a 450% increase in mobile transactions, ladies and gentlemen. That is digitalization of the economy we're talking about. If in Corona, in a pandemic where people are poor, there is still such a tremendous increase in digitalization, how much more when we have a more stable economy? Which is why in our plan, we would like to emphasize this, to keep the policies that are there that led to this increase, which is the removal of transaction fees from these different digitalized
Joel, your time is up.
technologies, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, we've provided a plan that tackles all these problems, so
Well,
therefore we should win. Thank you very
time
much.
is up.
Well, thank you, our second speaker from the affirmative side. And now will come the second speaker from the negative side.
Thank you, dear judges, proposed side and the opposite side and the audience at large. I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
The motion of today states that this House believes that complete digitalization of Rwanda's economy can be achieved by 2030. Now, actually, we're so lucky that these opponents, this proposal side, really know the meaning of complete digitalization. I would like to first refute what the second speaker talked about. So we came here and talked about agriculture. You know, it's kind of funny. He came and said, as long as that they know how to transact or how to sell their products online. Seriously, we're talking about complete digitalization. So teach them how to also farm or using machines, because that's what you mean by complete digitalization. Teach them how to imply those machines into agriculture, so it can be complete. We need tractors for it to be complete. Seriously, man, come here and tell us that we need. They're coming here telling us maybe even if we don't, put it in farming, let's put in transactions. Really? Let's put in transactions and leave about farming, and you call that complete? And then also they've come here talking about the availability. A good debater is a good listener. We've said that you have only, as the government, you have only supplied network fibers on 7,000 kilometers squared, yet Rwanda is covered with 26,338 kilometers squared. Really? Come on. Let's get serious. So you're not even telling us the source of your funds. You're coming here telling us, okay, we're going to put this, we're going to put people there in the public to teach about digitalization. But then where is the source of funds? We're going to get the money to do all these transactions. Pardon you, we've already gone through COVID-19. So we already have many problems to deal with. Why take care of the problem of cashless transactions right now? We have a lot to take care of. We have the barriers that have been put there by COVID-19. One, the people are jobless. You're coming here telling that you want them to go to digitalization, yet they're jobless. They don't even have money to pay for that internet to use. They don't have money. Seriously, let's come here and solve the problems that really are important to solve. We have health to take care of. Guys, the government is not taking care of us. The government wants to improve digitalization, yet we are already suffering. We need food. We need employment. Yet it's here taking care about digitalization, and also about the COVID. The COVID made the economy of Rwanda fall from 10.1% to 3.5%. This is a major decrease in economy. Seriously, we don't have money enough. We don't have much money to invest in digitalization. And also, you talked about the accessibility. I hope you have understood. Then about the availability. Also, come on, you are here telling us that you want to go to train the people, training them to use these digital devices. But then trainers also need money. We need funds. Tell us where the funds are from. Tell us where you're going to get the funds from. And also, you're talking about that you don't need to take digitalization in all types
of economy.
Point of
Yet we're
information.
talking about corporate digitalization. Go on.
Okay, so you come here agreeing to the topicality, but could you please strike a difference between digitalization of the economy and incorporating technology in a certain sector, such as
We are talking about digitalization, complete digitalization. Economy, it attaches to every aspect. Since agriculture is the backbone of Rwanda's economy. Do you know what that means? That means that the highest percentage of Rwanda's economy, 70%, 70% of Rwanda's economy comes from agriculture. So if we don't put much effort in agriculture, then where is the economy coming from? Because since it's the backbone of Rwanda's economy, then we need to put in a lot of energy or efforts in agriculture. Now, you have also come here and talked about, you have talked about very many stuff, but we don't have the sources of emphasize on complete digitalization. Thank you.
You still
Thank
have time, but it's okay. We can then welcome the third, third speaker from the proposition side.
okay, so can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I'm also not going to put my video again because my internet is still unstable, but I hope everything I put across is noted. So I'm going to start my timer now. A lot of money is being spent on making money, to say 19 million Rwandan francs. A cashless economy would thus divert that money in funding more of activities to sustain the status quo. In my speech there, I will first of all show you how the major barriers of our plan, like electricity, the poor population, and digital illiteracy they brought to the table are irrelevant, ladies and gentlemen. And secondly, I will explain further how plans still stand. And thirdly, I will show you how our plan solves a lot of problems they try to bring on the table, and how the propositions plan has further impacts that are really important in this debate. So before I move on to that, a few refutation in this debate. Ladies and gentlemen, they come here telling us how the complete digitalization has nothing missing, but we don't see the missing part since they already agree with the availability and accessibility part, but are still pondering more on the digital literacy and also the fact that there are other sectors that need to be catered for. I will answer that. So secondly, they bring up that rural areas, the poor population, but in the end, ladies and gentlemen, they forget that in my first speech, I talked about rural penetration that is being catered for by the government, that is being catered for by very many projects, all right, by the ITC, the international, by rural and in in a partnership with the International Telecommunication Union, where they're extending a broadband wireless connectivity project to rural areas. So in the end, we have much rural penetration, and we also have very many telephones that are being catered for. And in the end, we believe that in 9 years, we shall be able to achieve that. They talk about here, they also bring up a problem of digital illiteracy. How are we going to educate people? They are poor people. They don't know how to read. They don't know how to do all that stuff. But in the end, if they have the phones, if they have the connection, poor are also catered for. They come here still tackling the fact that we're not completely digitalizing. But in the end, they're the same people that come here agreeing to our topicality that involves the transactions and communication, ladies and gentlemen, to be digitalized. So in the end, if we are able to prove to you that transaction and communication in our plan, the AAD, will be able to be fully digitalized in these 9 years, then we win this debate. The second thing they bring to the table, ladies and gentlemen, is that we aren't, digitalizing, the agriculture sector is still lacking. We have to bring the agriculture sector is still lacking. We have to bring tractors instead of the internet. We have to bring tractors instead of the cars. But in the end, they failed to make us understand as a side of proposition and the house at large how a tractor is actually a digital machine. A tractor is just a machine. If they want digital technology, let them bring hybrid tractors, all right, which is really irrelevant in this debate. So in the end, they are just advocating for technology, while we are the ones that are truly debating the motion of today, which is digital technology. We believe that AAD still stands in this case. Another point they brought to the table is source of funds. But in the end, we believe that the status quo itself has funding, all right? So we have funding that they're going in order for them to attain the 20-year ICT, which I began in my first speech, ladies and gentlemen. And besides that, we have the 19 million that are going to be reverted into, funding our sustainability plans, all right, instead of making this paper money. In the end, they also bring about people not having money, but we've already tackled the part of the poor people. And then another thing they brought to the table, which I feel is irrelevant, is the stats. They're asking us for statistics, but we've given them enough proof, enough mathematics that they fail to understand in order to believe on our side. They brought about a question of electricity, but since my first speech, I talked about how electricity will be met and overly met, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about how to reach 100% electricity accessibility. Rwanda projects a 52% off-grid accessibility, and on top of the already complete 48% on-grid electricity accessibility. We talked about how right now we already have 35% off-grid accessibility over 52%, which one to achieve. By simple math, I talked about the 2012-2021 case where we were in a span of just 9 years, we moved from 9.5 Kate. And now I'm going to continue where I was. So could you remind me where I stopped from?
You were saying from 2012 to 2021 there is 9, and then you cut that.
Okay, so I'm continuing my timer now. So I was simply explaining to you how there is simple mathematics in this solvency, all right? We talked about 9.5% of electricity access in 2012, and right now we just reached 35% of grid electricity accessibility. Just as